Yeah, of course, I just see, Gareth, that engagement by the chairperson of the IEC, of course, greeting all the voters coming in. Quite a relief, I'm sure, for the IEC to say people got the memo, they got the communication, they're out to vote. I'm sure they are pleased where they are. But to keep updated with other parts of the country, we know that polling stations only open in just a few minutes at 7 a.m. So let's go straight now to our reporters. eNCA continues to give you rolling coverage on what's happening today as South Africans prepare to head to the voting stations to cast their ballots. And in Mahikeng, we have Manqoba Mchunu, and Aviwe Mtila is keeping an eye on things in East London. Colleagues, good to have you. Aviwe, if I may just start with you there. I mean, we know that this past weekend had been marred by a few disruptions at the special voting stations. I've just spoken to the IEC Commissioner, Janet Love, saying they had to, unfortunately, dismiss a presiding officer found to be under the influence of alcohol in a separate province in Mpumalanga. From where you stand, what do you know about this past weekend and what can you expect today?
Well, I'm in the Eastern Cape at the Results Centre, Provincial Results Centre at the ICC, I beg your pardon, East London, where things have been running smoothly, I'm told, over the special votes. There were not major hiccups, everything running smoothly this weekend. And in fact, as we head to 7 o'clock, expecting those voting stations to open, I am at the Results Centre, where you see it's the last-minute checkups and touch-ups from the officials, IEC officials here, making last-minute calls to the different regions, because you'd understand everything is circulated around this centre. So they're the ones that are in touch with the different regions. And there's actually a map just right across there where we see the different regions in the Eastern Cape, which makes up the Eastern Cape. So now it's just those final checks and balances as they go to 7 o'clock, making sure that all the voting stations are ready for 7 o'clock and are ready for the votes. You can understand that the Eastern Cape itself has those two big metros. It's the Buffalo City Metro as well as the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro. You'd understand that they'll be highly contested given the 2016 local government elections, where the ANC lost its hold over the Nelson Mandela Metro but won outright majority in the Buffalo City Metro. In fact, I want to catch up with the provincial electoral officer in the province just to check how things are going. Thank you, Ms. Kaya, guys, for joining us at the eNCA. But just heading to 7 o'clock, and maybe let's start with the weekend. Any major hiccups that you faced as the IEC in the weekend?
Over the weekend, which weekend?
The special voting weekend.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we had some few challenges. There were a few stations that did not open on time because of community protest. And there were also those stations that did not open because of the church landlords that were refusing to let us use their halls. But those stations, they all were able to open before 8:30.
Okay, and then today, of course, is a big day, voting day. People expected out in the thousands around the numerous voting stations. Are all the regions ready and prepared?
All the regions are ready and prepared, but there are hiccups. There are 8 stations that are problematic. 7 of those, they are around Alfredo area and Port St. John's as well. They've been digging trenches overnight. As a result, our staff will delay in opening at 7 this morning. But the SAPS are on the way, and COCTA also is organizing facilities so that those stones in the trenches can actually assist us in terms of moving to the stations. But those stations will definitely not open at 7. But we are keeping track on what is happening on the ground.
Okay, so when you don't open in time, then what happens? You mentioned over the weekend, some stations had to open at around 8:30.
Yes.
Do you then extend the closing time in order to give everyone a fair opportunity to vote?
Over the weekend, there was no need to do so, because honestly we were able to open those stations until 5. You remember, stations were closing at 5. We were able to open those stations until 5, and there was no complaint of people that were unable to vote, because there were no long queues, honestly, in the stations. And we were able to do home visits on day 1, and whoever that we were not able to cover on day 1, we were able to reach those yesterday.
Okay, and then just in terms of the voter turnout over the weekend, how was it? Did all those registered special voters come through, or what was it looking like?
Let me put it this way. We were able to reach everyone that was approved for special votes. And the problems that we're having were those people that were not found at home. But for those people that we found at home, we're able to administer those elections. And I must say that the majority of the people that were on our list approved the special votes, indeed, were found at home.
Okay, thank you very much, Kaya Gazi. That is the Provincial Electoral Officer in the Eastern Cape, heading the IEC here, results centre essentially, and telling us there were a number of hiccups, in fact, over the weekend, and also going into today's elections. There are already hiccups there, but they're saying that they're doing the best to keep everything on track.
Yeah, quite an important question you asked there, Aviwe, around the extension of time. If those polling stations only open at 8:30, will the IEC extend the time so to give everyone a chance? That's the question. But let me head over now to Mahikeng. Manqoba Mchunu standing by there. Manqoba, I spoke to Janet Love earlier on, IEC Commissioner, saying the IEC is ready. It's all systems goes today. But from where you stand, does it reflect that?
Indeed, Tumelo, we are here at Mahikeng High School in the Northwest, in the capital city of the Northwest, where, of course, this is one of the voting stations that will be opened here today. Of course, there was a minor bit of a hiccup in terms of the arrival of some of the voting material here, but, of course, the IEC chair in this particular province making sure that everything is ready on time for those who want to cast their elections to do so. I can tell you, Tumelo, just looking here, there is already a queue. If I can ask my colleague to show you a queue of people that are waiting here to go inside and cast their ballots. And in terms of the statistics here, we are looking at just over 1,743 voting stations that will be opened here in the Northwest, and just over 1.6 million people that have been registered to vote. Of course, over the weekend, we did see those special votes taking place, and here in the Northwest, just over 99,000 people had registered for those particular votes, and 44,000 of them were home visits. But just to get a sense of how today will unravel here in the Northwest, I'm joined by the provincial chairperson of the IEC, Dr. Tumelo Ntletiba. Thank you for your time, Doctor. I know it's a rushing morning. You have been running around to ensure that things go smoothly at 7 o'clock when things open. But what are we looking like here in the Northwest in terms of voting stations? Have they all been open? Are they all going to be opened at 7?
Yeah, I will know exactly how many of our stations are open, but we do not foresee any difficulties with opening of our stations, because for the past 2 days, our special voting process has gone relatively smooth without, with of course a few of our stations not opening on time. But this morning we hope that all our 1,743 stations will open on time.
In terms of the readiness of the IEC, how many officials are we looking at, and in terms of security as well at these polling stations?
We have actually contracted over 14,000 election staff, from area manager right up to the queue worker, and we hope that all of them will turn up for duty today. If they do not, we will replace them, and we don't have any problems at all with security threats, because for registration weekend, only 8 of our stations, which is 0.4%, could not open on time. But on registration weekend, day 2, all our stations were open. So we hope that the same will happen today. All our stations will be open. Even the one station in the JB Marks municipality that was destroyed, a tent was pitched there on Saturday morning, so we managed to conduct special voting.
And then let's look in terms of, the voter turnout. Of course, that has been a concern, especially for local government election, when we haven't seen many people turning out to vote. Are you expecting a higher turnout of votes this time around? And just looking at the weekend as well, how was that?
If we use the special voting process as a yardstick, for the very first time we had a record high voter application, successful application, over 44,000 home visits, over 52,000 station visits. So far, with the preliminary turnout, it's over 60% of voters who we visited at home, and they were there. So we are positive that we will get anything between 25 and 30% voter turnout. Our total voter population is 1.6 million, so we're expecting roughly 400 plus voter turnout across the province today.
And in terms of the number of political parties that are contesting this election, what are we looking at here in the Northwest?
There are 52 political parties contesting in our province, and there are 150 independent candidates.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Tiba. Let me not keep you. I know that you're still making sure that everything is going smoothly and you're driving around Northwest and the different voting stations. Thank you very much for your time, Dr. Tiba. I want to go to those who are going to be casting their ballots today just to get a sense from them how they are feeling and perhaps why they are voting today. Sir, let me start with you. I see that you are first in line. That means you came very early here to vote. So are you excited to vote, and what are you voting for? Not the political party, but in terms of what you want to see change.
As a South African, I'm a South African, and I wake up very early to come and vote, cast my vote, because I want to see that those who read their manifestos, they fulfill their promises, and I change the local government officers.
And in terms of the issues in your own community, what are those issues?
Issues because I see there must be service delivering, like repair roads, water, sanitation, all this, and I see that our schools are also in order and look after the women and children. They don't be abused.
Okay. Just quickly, ma'am, I know that you're also excited. What are you voting for today? What are you hoping to see change in your community?
Power, water, roads, schools. I hope my vote will make a difference, a real difference, a concrete difference. I'm tired of empty promises, empty symbols, empty signs. Talk, 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 talk is cheap. We must now roll up our sleeves and make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so those are just some of the people that we've spoken to here. And of course, they are quite excited to be casting their vote today. And on top of that, what they are going to be voting for today is change and better service delivery here in the Northwest. Of course, this particular province has not been doing well when it comes to issues of service delivery. We can talk of many issues: the poor conditions of the road, the water problem in this particular area, as well as constant power cuts. So those are some of the things that residents here say they want to see change as they're going to be casting their votes today.
Absolutely, Manqoba. And this is on the other side of voter apathy, where we see some that are saying they may not cast their vote or they're undecided. It seems those that you've spoken to this morning know exactly why they are in the queue that early, top of the line, of course, to ensure they cast their vote. Thank you so much, Aviwe Mtila and Manqoba Mchunu, making sure that we stay updated across the country. But also remember to wear your mask because we've just been speaking to various analysts just preempting and leading up to elections today that they do not want this particular election day to be a super spreader event. So if you're out there, presiding officer, if you are there to cast your vote, mask wearing and making sure that you maintain a safe social distance, carrying your pen and sanitizing, quite important to remember during this day. All right.